Well, welcome to the afternoon session here at Henley Royal Regatta, and you just saw a glimpse of the beautiful silver trophy that is waiting, with no names engraved upon it, waiting for history to be written this afternoon by one of these two eights. And I'm here with Mark Hunter, legendary steward, Olympic medalist, and pretty good sprinter, as we saw you sprinting to the commentary box, Mark. Nice to know you're warmed up.
Good afternoon, mate. Yeah, it's a pleasure to join you in the commentary booth this afternoon. I was running a little bit late, cutting a little bit of fine, but yeah, made it on time, and more importantly, just in time for this really important race that we're about to see. And
the heartbeat that Mark has will be echoed down that boat at Surbiton High School. An unseeded crew have made their way right the way through to the final of this new junior women's 8s event. 13 entries, one from the US, the Green Lake crew. They've gone out, and here on the start we see Surbiton and nearest us Headington School. And well, what a feeling to sit on the start of Henley after so much uncertainty, and they're here to perform and see if they can write their names on that beautiful new trophy.
And it was so exciting to see them race yesterday in that semi-final against Lady Eleanor Hollis School. And you know, they've got a young group of athletes here. 5 of them competed at the national schools in the J16 8. So, you know, this is all these young ladies, their first Henley Regatta, but to be at that age competing at this level in a final is incredible. And obviously they're going up against the top junior 8 of Headington, who won national schools. Yeah. So, you know, you've got that J16 going up against the juniors. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, well, we can hear the umpire giving instructions to these crews, and the hearts will beat a little faster as they're being called into position for this first of our afternoon raft of finals. 3 new women's events will be won for the first time this afternoon, and this is the first of them, the new junior women's 8s event, and it's Surbiton High School, furthest from us, and closest to the camera, Headington School.
Attention! Go!
They're just off the start, trying to get their boat speed up to pace as quickly as possible as they go through the gears. And this is all about making those dreams they've had as athletes become a reality today.
Yeah, this is an event to dream of, and it's so amazing to have something of this caliber to aim for, and great talent all the way through this event. As I said, we had 13 entries, and now it's down to just these 2. Determination and focus, and they'll be just happy to get off the blocks now. The wait of the lunch interval is over, and they can just focus on the process that they practice so much. And a good clean start here, Mark.
Yeah, both crews off to a really clean start. You talk about that nervous energy, the build up to the big final, and then it's kind of like autopilot as soon as the umpire says go. So a great start as crews have got inside the booms now. Obviously the Cottons will have their kind of race strategy, race plan that they've gone over numerous times for this big final today.
Absolutely. So Headington School, just as we pick them up alongside, Headington School looking like they might have half a canvas leads, but it's early days in the race, and good, long, strong strokes from Headington. Really successful school through the season at Henley Women's Regatta, at Marlow Regatta, at the Metropolitan Regatta, and at the National Schools Regatta. They're the crew to beat. And alongside them, perhaps Surbiton wouldn't have expected to be here, but their game has risen all the way through the regatta. They beat Surbiton Borlays in the first round. They beat Green Lake USA in the next round, and then in the semi-finals, an amazing race you mentioned against Lady Eleanor Hollis, their near neighbours in London. A length and a quarter close type race. That will have tired them a bit, but it'll also give them some confidence coming into today.
Yeah, and it's been great to see them step on each round, and that's the important thing about Henley, is not coming to the opening round doing your best performance. They've really moved through the regatta, stepped on each heat or each round, and it's been super impressive to see this young group of ladies kind of progress through the regatta. And you know, they're racing the top 8 in the country. They're racing Headington, they've won national schools, so they have nothing to lose. So the longer they can stay in contention, the more they're growing confidence. And it'd be really interesting whether Headington try and take an early advantage, or they sit there and let the Surbiton crew kind of nip at the heels and chase them down.
Yeah, so I think in a final like this, if your nerves are there and you've got that confidence of having won so many of the events through the season, it's likely you're going to want to dominate from the start, isn't it? But you've got to say credit to the Surbiton School girls crew here. They're sitting there, S's across their blades, effort on their faces, pushing to hold on at the half-mile post. They're coming alongside the half-mile, and so a few hundred metres into the race, and there's still everything to play for both crews.
Yeah, and just that image that was looking at their faces, the concentration, you know, the determination on their faces. it's an incredible shot when you get to that close up to see, and also the pain and agony they're going through because of what they're actually putting their bodies for racing up this Henley course.
So great blade work from both crews here as we look down the 8, and this is now the faces of the Headington School crew. Jessie Martin in the stroke seat, 18 years of age, communicating a little bit there. We can see with Sophie Wrightson, the Cox, as she looks across at the opposition, keeping cool, as you said, keeping calm. Again, concentration, relaxation on their faces.
And both crews are settled into their kind of mid-race pace now. You can see Headington have started to kind of edge out, but it's going to be how important it is for that Surbiton crew to stay in contact, and also the job of the Cox to make sure that they stay in contention. You know, that this is a really important part of the race.
Yeah, you can see it. That's what's going on inside the heads of these young women from Surbiton High School out there in London. It's the key part of the race really now, isn't it? This is the decisive part, because if you're an underdog like this is where you have to achieve enough to rattle and pressure the crew that's sitting just a bit up on them here. Can they do that in the second quarter of this final?
But that's when the importance role of the Cox, you know, keeping the motivation of the crew, the processes that they've kind of talked about, putting in place for this final, you know, and trying to keep that Headington boat under pressure. You know, we know the class of this boat because they've been so successful and dominant through the season. But, you know, the way Surbiton have progressed through the regatta, we've spoken about that, has been exceptional.
Well, Surbiton continues to strive to maintain contact with Headington School. It's a big effort for Surbiton. They have lifted their game through the rounds of this brand new Junior Women's 8s event. But now I think we're seeing the confidence and the class of a really strong Headington School 8 here.
Yeah, we talked about how important that middle part of the race, or section of the race was, and you know, Headington have done what you would expect exactly from an established, you know, dominant crew that's full of confidence from racing all season. And Surbiton just haven't been able to stay in contact, so it makes it really tough now for them to try and get back in contact.
Yeah, we've seen really variable conditions, Mark, haven't we, throughout the day? We've sometimes had big gusts of wind, sometimes a little bit quieter, and whilst the sun is out, it is still a little bit gusty in the middle of the river, in the middle of the race there. As we look down on the backs of the Headington crew in bow, immediate lead 2, Phoebe Horan, 3, Mia Brown, 4, Hoa Villar, and 5, Molly Fennell. At 6, Issy McGee. At 7, Claudia Rossington. And at stroke, we mentioned Jessie Martin. And they are being urged on, they are being coached, and they've been given vital information by Cox, Sophia Wrightson. We hope to see many of these women throughout Henley Regatta in many, many years to come. One of the things I'm so delighted, Mark and I, we're both stewards of the regatta here, and introducing 3 new women's 8s events this year. I had the privilege of rowing in the school equivalent, the boy equivalent of this race years ago, and it was a thrill. It's probably the most enjoyable place to race. The place that I most remember racing is in the final of this, the male equivalent of this event, and the women have never had the chance to do that until today.
Which I think is incredible that we've got this opportunity for these young ladies now. This is their first experience of Henley, and may they have many more after this. You know, with the opportunity of racing in the club 8s that we have and progressing up into the international events. You know, this is their start of their Henley Royal Regatta journey, really, is today.
And maturity here in the Surbiton crew, maintaining really strong form and technique despite the fact that they have got to row this race without any visibility now of the Headington crew. It's just determination, drive, commitment. They'll need to be encouraged by their Cox as we look at the faces of the Headington crew. And I should mention that Headington today are wearing black armbands because you may have read that Esther Dingley, a hiker whose body was unfortunately found recently in the Pyrenees, she was a Headington School girl, a rower at Headington and a GB junior. So very movingly, this crew have chosen to wear black armbands in her memory today, and they're honouring her memory as they approach the progress board. They are going to be looking to write their names on that blank silverware, beautiful trophy that mirrors the ripples on the water and the bow of the boat, and as a mirror of the trophy, Headington School, their bows approach the ripples at the finish of this first ever Junior Women's 8s event at Henley. This is history in the making. Women winning a Junior 8s event at Henley. You saw it here first. Each name of each athlete in the Headington crew will go down on the trophy, and they are rightly delighted to be there. And Surbiton, what can we say? Amazing to come as an unseeded crew through this regatta.
And to make it to the final, and you'll see this crew back next year, even stronger. You know, they're all 5 Junior 16s in this boat. You know, and the stories and the experience they would have had. God, it's going to be incredible to see them back next year and what they can do next year.
Headington School, our first ever Henley winners of the Junior Women's 8. You have made history here. Girls here at the front, tell me what it means.
I mean, it means everything, I think. After such a long time preparing for this, it's finally great that it's just paid off.
Yeah, especially after the whole year we've had, lockdown and everything.
It makes everything worth it.
Yeah.
And talk me through the race as well. Obviously, you came in as pre-race favourites. How did you ride through that pressure?
I think we never wanted to think of ourselves as the favourites. It was always come in like you're an underdog and race the best race you can.
Yeah.
Every race was heads in, eyes in, and just do what we could do.
Did you dare to dream about winning and making history here?
Yeah!
A little bit. Girls, amazing stuff. Congratulations. I'll let you go and celebrate now with this huge crowd around us. Well done.
Thanks.